Go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live. We have a very special guest speaker tonight, Emily Roberts, one of my faves, always has been. So I watched her from afar for a very long time before she ever knew who I was, before I went diamond. I watched all of her videos. She put great trainings out there on YouTube for anybody to take advantage of, and they were the funniest. She had the funniest, most relatable, down to earth training videos, and she liked Usher. I'm like, this is my people. So, and then when I saw her for the first time at a Plexus event, I was like, yeah, she really does like Usher. She can move. So, anyways, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you should, because she makes the funniest reels. Also, her daughter, I'm her daughter's favorite. Scarlett, I'm kind of a fan. And she's a fan of me too. So anyway, Emily's amazing. You guys are gonna love her. So Emily, I'm just gonna turn it over to you. Say whatever you need to say to all your fans.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm ready. And for the record, I have two other children. Brittany just really likes my daughter. I have two boys. I'm actually going to give you a little backstory. We're going to go way back because I feel like it does strangers the disservice not to know old Emily versus who Diamond Emily that you know today. And my toxic trait, which I don't find it toxic at all. My husband's like, it makes his eye twitch a little bit, is I overshare. Okay. I do it to people in the grocery store, baseball games. Like, you did not ask, but I'm going to deliver. I'm going to make sure you know everything, my blood type, everything you need to know. I'm going to share it with you. Okay. So, welcome to my brain. I am a 33-year-old mom of three. I have ADHD. I use our supplements to get through life. And where have they been my whole life? Because I didn't know I had it until I was older than 30. So I always kind of had a feeling, but here we are, you guys. Let me tell you something. Emily from 13 to 15 years ago is not the Emily that you guys know now. I was a little confident, but I was not someone that was willing to jump on a Zoom, willing to take charge, didn't want to be a leader. I think I was in a learning season, but I was also very heartbroken and dated around a lot. I was a bartender full time. And if you've ever been in the food industry, that's just what you're surrounded by, either hardcore people that are just going to go for it or people that just like to complain. Okay. So those were the people that I was surrounded by. I was very confused as a, 19-year-old. I got married when I was 20. And that Emily is the Emily that I want to introduce you to first, because I want to make y'all not like me before you love me. Okay. Because I did not like Emily from 15 years ago. So what happened was I got married and then I left my husband for someone else. And this is a huge part of my story because my redemption story, I'm still married to him, but for the record, our redemption story, our love story is a huge part of why I know for a fact God has me here in Plexus and with the upline that I have, the friends that I've met, and the couples that I've had the chance to talk to and share my testimony with. And so I need you to not like me for a minute, okay? Because it's not hard for me to share this story because it's just a big part of my life. But for 18 months, I ran away. I ran away from dreaming big. I ran away from my marriage. I ran away from my family. So for those of you that do know me and you've seen me at Plexus events and you've seen me the last 8.5 years, I'm surrounded by people and I have lots of friends and I love people. I think they're quirky and weird and awesome. And I love people. And, that was not Emily from 15 years ago. I did not have social media. I did not have a car. I quit my job and I lived with this other person for 18 months. And I was not the person that you guys know today. And so what happened was divine intervention. So out of everywhere in the entire world that my uncle, who was a pastor, could be relocated, he was relocated to the city where I was having my affair, out of everywhere in the entire world. I had no communication with my mom. She was very upset with me in the life I was living. And so hearing that I was in this town, like word traveled around and I get a message. I would check my Facebook. The guy that I was with didn't want me to have one, but I would check my Facebook and I had this message from my aunt and she was like my mom was like the cool aunt. She was like the hoity-toity aunt. You know what I mean? Like to me, they were super rich because they went to Chick-fil-A and we went to Taco Bell. So she was my rich aunt. It makes me laugh now. But back then when I was little, like she helped my family so much. I was born and I come from a broken home, raised by a single mom. And so my aunt was in my life a lot and really, really would help steer me back to the Lord. And here she was when I was 20 years old, Facebook messaging me and saying, hey, you want to come to a Bible study? And I was like, no, sure don't. I'm living in sin. And of course I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. But I went, and y'all are gonna die. You ready for this part of the story? The name of the Bible study was Diamond in the Rough. Okay. And it was an incredible study. I'll never forget it because it talked about finding your purpose and walking with the Lord. And that at the time, being a 20-year-old and trying to figure out like, okay, I'm someone's wife, and not even that, a Marine's wife. Have y'all met U.S. Marines? Those guys are crazy. And he was deployed more than I got to see him. And I was in a rut, and I was scared and fearful. And the Emily that you know today is none of those things. I'm not afraid. Maybe of my 5-year-old, she's a little scary, but other than that, I'm not afraid. And so what I learned over those 6 weeks in that Bible study was that God had a purpose for me and what I was doing was wrong. And I finally felt that conviction. And my aunt was dropping me off at that guy's house. And before I got out of the car, she said, Emily, what are you doing with your life? She also called me a really bad word, and I'd never heard her say a cuss word in my entire life. And I just looked at her like, what did you just say to me? And she was like, well, are you going to ruin your life and be that bleep? Or are you going to change it? Are you going to do something about it? Like, what have you been learning the last 6 weeks? And so I finally tried to get a hold of my mom. I texted her over and over that night. I had a little pay-as-you-go phone. I was like, Mama, please come get me. I know I'm 2 hours away, but I don't have a car. I want away from this guy. Like, I need to go back to Scotty or at least apologize. At this point, I'd already filed for divorce. And so all that to say, my mom came and got me. I'm clearly out of that terrible situation. I've been married to my husband for 13 years in April. And if it weren't for us reconciling and the Lord's just hand in our marriage in general and just grace, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be a diamond in plexus. So I needed y'all to like not like me for a minute to understand how thankful and grateful I am for this opportunity and what we do here in Plexus, because we get to love people for free. Like, the Lord calls us to do it anyways, but like we get to love people and love them well, and we get to help them feel better, and we get to help them make money and earn super cool prizes and go on fancy trips. Like, what we do here is super cool. And if Scott wouldn't have taken me back, as the world says, I would have never met my upline, whose husband deployed with Scott, and I would have never met her, and she would have never fearfully asked me if I had heard of Plexus, and I would have never have told her no for 15 months, only to watch a different diamond, Melissa Eichenhorst, earn her Lexus and be like, I could probably do that. Good for her, not for me. No, I mean, I could probably do that. I don't know. And then obviously we did the thing. So now that you didn't like me for a minute, and if you ever see Scotty in person, he is as awesome as he sounds. I know Brittany calls her husband Mr. Wonderful. I feel the same way about my husband. I call him Mr. Patient. I always say he has the patience of Job, because Job was put through the ringer and I put that man through the ringer. I'm a wee bit crazy. And, but he loves me through it. And the real true miracle out of our entire love story is that Scott came to know the Lord and all of that, because I left behind my Bible and I left behind Praying for Your Spouse. I don't know if you've ever seen that book. I think it's a Beth Moore book. And he read that the entire time I was gone, and Redeeming Love. You know that love story? You know what I'm talking about? And the movie came out on Amazon Prime. He read that book front to back because he's a solutions driven person. He's a type 1 on the Enneagram, Malanta. And we are not the same, but he read that book front to back, like just trying to figure me out. Just like, okay, if she reads love stories like this, surely she's a romantic. Surely I can get her back, right? So he's precious. He's awesome. And he's probably listening and like smirking on the other side of this wall right now, but he's a good guy. So when I joined Plexus, I had one child, his 6-month-old boy that didn't know his daddy yet because his daddy was deployed to Afghanistan. And now 8.5 years later, I got 3 kids. Plexus is a little different. And my 3 kids feels like Brittany's 100, but it's okay, because some of you are not like Brittany, and having more than 3 kids might freak you out a little bit, like me. I come from, like I said, a broken home. I was raised by a single mom. I'm the oldest of 4 children. They call me to this day the other mother, and they don't do it really nicely. It's like, oh yeah, the other mother. It's more said like that. But I grew up very quickly. I was very mature for my age. I've heard that my whole life. And so I got wild and crazy and acted like a child when I was 17, 18, and 19. And so now as an adult with 3 kids, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like so thankful for my mom. And I always like tell her that. I'm like, how did you do it? I'm about to go to jail. My kids are crazy. How'd you do it? And she's like, hang in there. You know, she always has a scripture or a quote or a movie or Taylor Swift song for it. And I'm like, okay, mom, sure. Thanks. So helpful. Okay. And so what I love the most about what my mom instilled in me so that when I became a mother was really great habits. Maybe not healthy habits, because I grew up on Hamburger Helper. Anybody else? Hamburger Helper, and then Little Debbie for dessert, right? We put the Swiss cake rolls in the fridge. They are so much better cold. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I grew up. I'm talking like the pork and bean cans were in the pantry. We didn't cook unless it was spaghetti. And even then we put Hunt's ketchup all up in our spaghetti and our spaghetti sauce. My Italian friends, don't come for me. Okay. It was not me. It was my mama. But that's how I grew up, not healthy. But the habits that my mom did instill in me was reading my Bible, starting my day with worship music, and having conversations with the Lord as if he was my best friend. And that is something that I do to this day. My kids probably think I'm crazy because I'll just start talking to God out loud in my car. And they're like, who are you talking to? I'm like, the Lord, because he's about to save you, because I'm done. Mommy is done today. So just let me talk. Let me talk this out. And so having 3 kids now, my business is just very different, but I'm so thankful for the habits with the Lord that she instilled in me, even though the health and wellness was not there until I became an adult, and I just learned about that. So that's what I'm bringing to you tonight. Christina said that you guys have been learning about high performance habits. I'm assuming y'all were reading Brendan's book, or maybe y'all listened to it or something, and that's kind of where this has come from. But if you don't know, the dictionary says a habit is a settled or regular tendency. I got to pull up my notes because I don't know what it is off the top of my head. A regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. I don't know about you. I don't know how long you've been with Plexus. Feel free to put it in the chat. I can multitask. So if you've been with Plexus for a minute, I want to hear about it. If you've been with Plexus for 5 seconds, woo, buckle up. This is going to be one of your favorite Zooms of all time. So when I do my Plexus work, when I think about Plexus in this business, it is secondhand nature for me now because I've been doing it for 8.5 years. Kind of like when you are a mom to the first baby and you're like, what did I get myself into? I am responsible for another human life. Like, especially those of you that nursed your babies or attempted like me. I did not nurse until my 3rd baby, because the first baby, the second baby, I was like, y'all gonna starve. Wait, we cannot come to an agreement here. So y'all gonna get formula or you gonna starve. And so like those habits and those things that you're doing with the first baby are a lot different by the 3rd baby, right? Some of you are like, yes, with the first kid, you know, they got their names on their t-shirts and they got like the perfect little bedroom. And by the 3rd kid, it's hand-me-down city. It is hand-me-down city. They eating off the floor. It is what it is, right? Okay. As long as we're all on the same page, because that's what we do at our house. Poor Scarlett. I mean, she is the girl, so she didn't really get hand-me-downs from her brothers. She is the princess. But anyways, as a mom, there are things that you do that are just second nature, right? You hear the laundry go off and you can fold laundry, answer the phone, get onto a child, brush your teeth all at the same time. It's just natural because our brain has these habits like literally engraved. Have you ever seen a picture of a human brain? I can see your faces. You can shake your head. Yes. Okay. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm like, even a cartoon picture, right? They're pink or red and they're kind of squishy and they have all these little squiggles on them, right? Those grooves. Did you know those grooves literally represent habits that you have engraved into your brain? I mean, really, that's truly what it's called. So it's neuroplasticity. If you want to sound like the cool kid at lunch tomorrow or in the break room or at the teacher lounge, wherever you do full time, and go tell your 4-year-old, teach them a big word. Neuroplasticity is your brain's amazing ability to form new habits. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to restructure itself after training or practice. This is really cool with children because they can practice something very quickly. And what do we say about kids? They're like sponges, right? They absorb information and can apply it and learn it way faster than what us, right? We'll be a little slower these days. Okay. Wrong. Science says that is wrong. So there's an old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's bull crap. That is complete crap. And it has been mythed, debunked, or whatever you want to say, but that is not true. Our brain, God, is so cool. He is so cool. I'm like reading this study on neuroplasticity. My husband's like, you're reading what? I'm like, I don't know, but we're going down the rabbit hole of your brain. Okay. It was just so cool. And to think that we were all created and he knows every freckle and hair on our head and like star in the sky. And like, he knows every groove in our brain. He knows every habit that we are taking on and that we're learning or maybe unlearning. Okay. We are what we do repeatedly. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle said that. Maybe, I don't know, Google said that. These days, it's kind of hard to tell if somebody really said that or not, but you are what you repeatedly do. And what you're repeatedly doing is putting grooves into your brain. So I don't know about you guys, but when I read things like that, I take it very literally. And if I'm going to put a groove into my brain, if I'm going to permanently engrave something into my brain, I hope it makes me money. I hope it blesses others. I hope it makes me happy. I hope that it creates a legacy business. I don't want grooves in my brain that are bad habits, right? Right? So here's the thing. And Christina's not here, so I can say this. I don't want y'all to make any more goals. No more goals. We're not going to make goals anymore. Okay. Now, before Brittany's like, excuse me, we make goals on this team. It's because I want you to form habits. Habits are permanent in your brain. Now, the cool thing about this permanence is that it can be altered and changed because your brain is not like, it's not like a piece of candy that you're going to like suck on the sucker and then eventually disappears. Your brain can be rewired. You can unlearn something and relearn something. You can kind of like, you haven't rode a bike since you were 8 years old, but if you went outside for a few hours and gave it a try with your elbow pads and your knee pads and your helmet and maybe your spouse's help, you would be back on that bicycle riding up and down the street. Okay. That's because your brain has a groove. It's just got to go find it. It's got to go find it because that was probably a habit you had as a child, right? So Emily, what happens when we create a new habit neurologically? Here's what happens. Okay. I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. When a behavior is performed, the connections between these cells change with the frequency of the behavior performed. These neural pathways are like grooves in the roadmaps of our brain. The more frequently we travel the road, the stronger and more second nature the behavior comes. So basically, the more you do it, the more it is engraved into your brain. Kind of like growing up with me, my mom would always tell us scripture and make hide God's word in your heart. Why? Because when you're in a sticky situation, that's the first thing that you want to remember, right? Or when you're driving a car, you have to go to driver's ed for so many weeks because you are learning that and it becomes a habit, right? Have you ever been driving in the road? Like literally has your subconscious taken over and you pull into your driveway and you're like, how did I get here? Like you're like in the zone, right? You like zone out and you're like, maybe a good song comes on and like next thing you know, you're parked in your driveway and you're like, how did I do that? It's because it's a habit that your brain has memorized. It knows the turns, it knows the stop signs because it's a pattern that you're doing every single day. The process in which the brain converts a sequence of actions into an automatic routine is known as chunking. Okay. And I don't mean like chunking the football at your kid because they're talking back. I'm talking about your brain is chunking. Okay. And it is at the root of how your habits are forming. It's literally a neurological process. So you know how they say it takes 21 days to form a new habit? That is true. It takes the brain about 3 weeks, as long as you're being consistent, to memorize that routine. So why do habits emerge? Habits, scientists say, emerge because the brain is constantly looking for ways to save you effort. So maybe I'm onto something here when I'm telling you, stop making goals, make habits, save yourself effort. Or as we like to say in the Plexus world, work smarter, not harder. Do not reinvent the wheel, right? I have a feeling your uplines have created some amazing systems that are in place that maybe you just need to spend at least 21 days reviewing and implementing so that you can form a new habit that comes like second nature, right? Habits save us effort. Our brain is proof of that. They have put people under the microscope or MRIs, CT scans, all those types of things, have watched people from eating spaghetti to solving math problems to their route, like the way that they would drive, sleep patterns, and it's all connected. And it's those little grooves that you see on an illustration of a brain or in a real life brain, like if you've ever been to a museum and you've seen one, those grooves, okay? Here's the thing. What in plexus, when I'm thinking of my business, if habits are meant to save us effort, sometimes maybe you feel this way. You feel like you're wasting your time. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe with a potential, or maybe you're listening to something or reading a book that Brittany or Christina mentioned, or your upline was like, this one really helped me. But for you, you're like, I'm wasting my time. Like this isn't helping my business or whatever. That's okay. That just means you learn differently. That doesn't mean you're not smart. That doesn't mean you're smarter. It just means you learn differently. And it's going to take your brain a different way to process. It also depends on those outside forces. You know, Brittany's childhood and my childhood may be very different. So the way I learn something or the perspective that I'm going to see something in is going to be a lot different than Brittany's, right? Or, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, that triggered me. I hate that word, but it's a thing. It really does. Your brain starts chunking because it's trying to form a new habit, save you effort and memorize. It's literally multitasking. It's incredible. But then what happens? You feel like you've wasted time. So then you do what? You stop doing the thing. You stop with the onboarding system. You stop following up with that potential. You stop posting on social media because you weren't getting enough likes or comments. Guess what day you stopped on? 11. You still had 10 more to go. So now your brain has to go back to the starting line and reform a new habit because you gave up because of effort. The last time I checked, effort was a great thing. Why are we giving up on ourselves? Why are we throwing away our effort? It's going to be hard. You know how many times I've been told no and cussed out and flipped off and blocked and you're crazy and I don't want your snake oil and are you sure we're related? Like all kinds of things from family that I've literally shown them my bank account. They've been in my $1 million home. They've been in my vehicles. Like they've been through all my Facebook albums of all the trips I've been on with Plexus, and they still think I'm Cocoa Puffs, okay? And I am just a little bit, but it has nothing to do with Plexus, okay? So let me share with you some habits that might be draining you, because I like deposits, right? When I think of a bank account or like my brain, I feel like my brain is like a giant bank account of wealth of knowledge, okay? However, I'm draining my brain account. I'm draining it if I have habits that look like this. I'm just going to give you 5 and you will know. Some of them are going to be like, ooh, that stung a little bit. Okay. Number 1 is not sleeping enough, going to bed early enough. Number 2, smoking or drinking too much alcohol. Those are not good habits. Sorry, but they ain't. Spending too much time alone is a draining habit. Now, some of you with lots of children might be thinking otherwise. And here's the thing. God did not create you to be alone. Eve is literal proof of that. Like Adam was out there all alone. Like, I just wish I had somebody. And God's like, hold on, lay down for a minute. I got you. Okay. We were not meant to be alone. That's actually a habit that is draining. And loneliness is a brain drainer. Okay. Being too stationary. Have you ever like just Googled good habits to make or how to be successful? Almost every single list says move your body or exercise, right? So being too stationary is actually a draining habit. And then lastly, which I thought was interesting, was overeating. This was on a bunch of different like bad habit lists, because sometimes we overeat because we're stressed, because it's an emotional thing, because it's a social thing. Like, why not? They're eating and I just ate dinner, but okay, I'll eat some more, you know? But that's not a good habit, right? Because then we're just feeding our body when it's not even actually hungry. Okay, so those are just a few habits that look like draining the brain account, all right? But some great habits that I have noticed just from your leaders alone and my sidelines and Plexus, my own team, things that I feel like I personally do well that fill my brain account, 100% reading God's word. And if you don't have a Bible, please let me know. Please let Brittany know. We'll get you one. We will get you one. If not, buy Holy Bible app. I'm pretty sure it's free. It's on every device. You can download it to your phone. And there is another app called Daily Verse, and they will literally text you a verse to work on and memorize that is uplifting and encouraging. Okay. That is number one of my favorite habits that I have to this day. Number two, for me personally in my business is playing music when I'm working. Okay. And I do this when I do exercises and coaching calls. I do this when I am reaching out to potentials. One, music makes me happy, and reaching out to people and messaging people does not make me happy. Shocker, a diamond admitted something. I know. I don't like reaching out to people. Blech. I want them to come to me. Why do I have to do all the work, right? All the things, all the thoughts. Well, here's the thing. If Morgan Wallen is playing, I am going to be typing. And I'm going to be typing to at least 5 to 10 people before his song ends. We make it a game. It's fun. It's a new habit that I like to fulfill. And then my team does it with me because they're like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm like, yeah, you got 2 minutes and 39 seconds to reach out to people you've been avoiding. Let's go. Okay. But it's a fun habit to create. Another great habit is listening to a podcast or reading a book about the industry. If you are not learning about our billion-dollar industry, what are you doing? Emily in Paris on Netflix can't wait. She ain't making you money. She ain't making you money. I'm just saying. Okay. Marie Kondo on Netflix, whatever your fancy is. They ain't making you money. Maybe you're a Monday Night Football kind of girl. That's fine. Football season's over. Maybe you're watching baseball. Maybe you like hockey. None of that makes you money. Here, new habit that you can do is every time you go to turn on the show, 5 reach outs first, 5 follow-ups first. Listen to that 5-minute podcast first. These are literal things that I did in my business early on. And here's why. Number one, I had a husband who did not understand our like plexus. He wanted all the attention, and he would literally turn off our cellular data. My Wi-Fi would be unplugged. And he's like, you ain't working this business. And I'm like, bet I'm going to Starbucks. Peace. And I would go work my business because he just didn't get it. So I had to find ways to stay focused, to fill my brain account, to eventually fill the bank account, because I had so many negative outward, like environmental things trying to take over, when in my heart, I was like, no, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Excuse me. You can fundamentally change your brain so long as oxygen and blood is flowing through you. So all my people out there that say, I can't, Brittany, I can't do it. That girl's mean. I can't host an event. I don't know enough. Print it out, laminate it, hold it and read it to your person that walks up to your table. You don't know an answer? You know, I don't know, but I'm going to get that answer to you. Add me on Facebook and I'll message it to you. I've never, ever, I've wasted so much money on business cards, you guys. That's a bad habit. I've wasted so much money on business cards. You know what I started doing? Hey, add me on Facebook. Hey, follow me on Instagram. It's like a free business card. And then you can turn on the little, oh, they posted a story. You can become a full-blown stalker in 5 minutes for that person, because you can turn on all the notifications for them and get to know them. But I think about those times that I thought I couldn't do it because I didn't have a degree, or I didn't have blonde hair, or whatever stupid excuse that you have come up with that you can't be successful at Plexus. Throw it in the trash where it belongs. Okay. Is it filling your brain account? No, talking negatively to ourselves and saying the words I can't is not putting money in the brain account. Okay. And science literally says, if you have oxygen and blood flowing through your body, you can create a new habit, which means you have no excuse when it comes to forming new ones or unlearning the bad ones. A recent study has shown that it appears learning a variety of new things rather than simply practicing old things may be most effective in terms of brain structure alterations. What I took away from that was maybe you've been in Plexus for a little bit, or maybe you're coming from a different type of work. Maybe you have a 9-to-5, maybe you're from another company. Maybe you've done childcare your whole life and now you want to step into the world of sales, and it can be very intimidating. A lot of you want to be great at this, and you used to post recipes and cat videos on your social media, and you're like, I don't know how to help you people. I've always just posted recipes and cat videos. Here's the thing. You can learn a new skill. Okay. You're not a tree. Nobody planted you into the ground. You can change. You have options. And I know because you have a brain that is full of grooves. Some of y'all got lots of grooves going on. Pick a groove. Keep picking it. 21 days minimum. Okay. So I would like to see in the chat one habit, one thing for your business that you are going to focus on for the next 21 days. Okay, 21 days. 21 days from now is almost towards the end of March. I mean, at the end of April. And all I know about April and the end of April is that it's tax season. People will be getting money back. It's one of the biggest months of the entire year for Plexus. We're going to have like brain account deposits and bank account deposits. All right, let's get ready. Okay, here we say, okay, leading with the business reach outs. Okay, who said leading with the biz? Where did that go? Leading with the biz, Terry Richardson. Okay, Terry, I'm gonna pick on you for a minute. I don't know what you look like or who you are, but leading with the biz. This is a fantastic habit. I'm so glad that she mentioned it because a lot of you ain't doing it. Woo, I know. Somebody tattled on you. Here's the thing. If you want to make money, you have to talk about the money. You got to talk about it. And I come from none of that. To this day, you tell me it's Blue Dot Tuesday at the Goodwill, I'll meet you there in 5, girl. Let's go. I will go through all the racks with you. Now, does that not mean I don't own a Louis Vuitton? Yes, I do. That was one of my first Plexus purchases. However, you got to lead with the business because there is someone going to bed tonight that has no deposits in their brain account. Their habits are not around success and they're not dreaming big and they're stressed out and because they're stressed out, they're sick. And you're over here with all the problem solving things with Plexus. And you're not talking about that. You're not talking about how your $47 went towards your order. You're not talking about how your $22 basically covers your ProBio 5. You're not talking about your $700 paycheck covered that electricity bill that doubled because the USA is confused and we don't know what season it is and our weather is weird. Okay, like whatever. You got to talk about money. Do you need money to pay your bills? Yes or no? I'm just saying, my I canters. I don't know about thisers. Okay, I'm talking to y'all for a minute. Terry's out there leading with the business the next 21 days. I guarantee you, Terry's going to have an iPad. Guarantee you, because she's going to lead with the business for the next 21 days. Leading with the business does not make you a ShamWow Plexus girl. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what ShamWow is? The towel that dries and wipes down everything. It's a ShamWow or whatever. Okay, whatever. I don't even know what it is. That does not make you a weirdo. You're already weird because you're doing network marketing as a career. We're already weird, okay? Normal is boring. We know this. When you lead with a business, it perks people's ears up. 1, because you're talking about money and people need it. 2, because working from home right now is like the #1 dream job for our country. And 3, when you talk about money, the people that are like, ew, okay, cool. You don't want to do business with them anyways. You want to work with like-minded people. You want to work with people that are like, let's go, let's make the money. Let's help the people, right? So Terry, for the next 21 days, all eyes on you. We're watching you, girl. Earn that iPad, lead with the business. Talk about your groceries. Talk about the extras. For me, I will work my Plexus business until I'm 89 years old so my kids can have a private Christian education. That is my newest why. Okay. When I started, it was to have a vehicle. I wasn't even looking at Diamond, you guys. When I joined, I just needed a car and I knew Emerald came with the car. And so I'm like, 300 people, I can help 300 people reorder every month. I can do it. I would tell myself that. And then my little affirmation I would say is no one will know about Plexus until I tell them. I was on every mirror in my house. It was on every Post-it note in my car. It was on my refrigerator. It was on my baby's forehead. No one will know about Plexus until I tell them. I'm talking the girl that bought picture frames off my wall when we were moving, because the military, you move like every 3 to 4 years. She came over and I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of Plexus? I know you're buying a picture frame from me, but you ever heard of Plexus? I told everybody. I walked up to moms yawning on the energy drink aisle in Target like a freaking weirdo, like, hey, I see you yawning. Have you ever heard of Plexus? Here's a sample. And I would have, at the time I had business cards, but like, you have to be more willing to go for it than run away from it. Be like a relentless 2-year-old that wants a cookie and it's nap time. That's the kind of behavior I want to see. Can I have it? Can I have it? Please, 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 please. It's nap time. It's nap. Please, please, please. Like they lose their minds, right? For the cookie. Plexus is the cookie. Lose your mind for the cookie. 21 days of new habits, you guys. I'm going to go pick on somebody else for a second. I'm seeing lots of business reach outs. Brittany, you're going to have a lot of iPad earners. I'm just saying. Business conversations, 5 new at least every day. Trina Summers coming for you. 5 new at least every day. I don't know what that meant because you weren't very specific. So I'm just going to make something up for you. When I see 5 new, I'm thinking like 5 new reach outs, 5 new follow-ups, the people you forgot about that you messaged last year. We got to go talk to them again. 5 new Instagram people to follow and comment and engage with. Maybe 5 new podcasts, 5 new training videos. I have a whole channel on YouTube all the way back to 2015. Knock yourselves out. Some of it, most of it's relevant. But here's the thing. I love that she picked 5 new. This is a number that you can build on. And it's also something you can duplicate with your new people. That's not scary. Mel Robbins has that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. When you are feeling fearful and you hesitate and then there's no movement and then you're not building that new habit, right? So Trina, I love that. I think that you guys are going to do just fine. I feel like there's like 26 new messages. You guys are awesome. Thank you for participating. We love a good chat. I am on YouTube. Somebody said that. Sham Wow infomercials used to come on at Nick at Night when I was a kid. Okay. See, the fact that you remember that's a groove in your brain. Isn't that cool? I just think our brains are so cool. But overall, I want you to remember that you can relearn, you can unlearn, and then you can just learn a new habit. One of my favorite things to do for learning a new habit, aside from Morgan Wallen and music and all that, is being intentional about the new habit that I want to create. So something that I started doing when Reset was rolled out, because I got to be one of their trial people, was I noticed that the first step on the box was Plexus Hydrate. So that for me was a new habit, because I don't know about y'all, but starting my morning early with a warm cup of coffee and 28 minutes of silence for all the children wake up and your husband's going out the door looking for his keys, like the chaos, right? That was for me. I woke up and that was my thing. And then I did the reset and I was like, well, this is saying to start my day with hydrate. That is not a warm and fuzzy cup of quiet coffee. And so here's what happened when I started this new habit. Are you ready for this? My adrenal fatigue completely reversed itself. My skin cleared up. I didn't have under eye bags. I clearly have lost almost 30 pounds over the last year by doing 1 reset a month. My sugar cravings were completely gone. It actually repulsed me to have something sweet because I started my day with hydrate. So knowing me and my brain, because with ADHD, one thought leads to another. So I had to get online and figure out what the heck in hydrate was making me gag at the thought of sugar. And it's sodium. And a lot of healthy, holistic doctors, even Dr. Mark Hyman, you'll see a bunch of doctors say, start your day with a pinch of salt on your tongue, which I will not be doing that. So instead, I just started my day with hydrate, which has a ton of minerals and sodium, and that was killing my sugar habit. Okay. So that was just to give y'all, I'm preaching what I'm telling y'all. That was a habit that I created almost a year ago, and it is something that I love doing to this day. You guys can do it. I believe in you. Thank you for letting me come on and share my my fun brain stuff with you. I can send these notes over to Brittany and Christina if y'all want to kind of see what is typed out. I learned better that way, so maybe you guys do too. But thank you so much for inviting me to talk habits with you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Emily, for bringing the house down tonight. Everybody loved it. Chat's blowing up. So smart, all your new learning that you're doing. You made something complex sound fun, number one, fun, and simple and relatable. So thank you for that. I have one question for you. Can you answer one question? Okay. Before you started Lexus, were you rude to your upline?
100%.
Tell me that story. I want everybody to hear that. How you were rude to your upline, what you did, and now how you are a diamond and why they should still follow up with people.
My husband said it right here. He's laughing. He's like, oh boy. Okay. So, okay. So she reached out, and here's what I was doing behind the scenes. I was completely two-faced to this girl, bless her heart. Okay. So here's what happened. She was posting on Facebook all the time. Like she would check into urgent care because she was always sick. And it was like, I felt bad for her, but at the same time, I was like, oh my God, like get your life together. Like stop checking into urgent care on Facebook. I was kind of annoyed, but I also felt bad. Okay. So that was where my mindset was at the time. So from there, over the course of like probably 6 months, no, not even, maybe 3 months, I noticed she was at the beach and her hair looked vibrant and full. And she was glowing and beautiful and playing with her little boy. And like, she looked hot. And I was like, whoa, okay, she's either leaving her man or she is not sick anymore. Like I'm super judgy Facebook friend right now. So I messaged her and I'm like, how's the deployment going? Because our husbands were deployed together. And knowing my past, I, recognized some red flags. So I was nosy. And she was like, Emily, I'm so glad you reached out. How are you? And she was like, telling me about her life. I'm like, okay. Why are you so happy? Like I'm over here with a newborn, drowning in 16 hours of college courses, drowning in debt because we lived credit card to credit card, and I had a newborn that refused to nurse. So why are you so happy was my question. And she was like, plexus. And I was like, oh, I'm about to block you. Bless your heart. And I literally said that. We have a screenshot of it. She uses it to this day when we're telling new people it's normal. And she was like, don't cut me out just yet. Like, just know it's really, really helping me. It's my gut health or whatever. And I'm like, I thought gut health was for old people. And she was like, no, it's for everybody. And then that was kind of it. We didn't talk about it for a little while after that. And then a few months goes by and I noticed that she had lost like probably 20 or 30 pounds. And I needed to lose about 20 pounds. Scott was getting ready to come back from Afghanistan. And the last time he saw me, I was 9.5 months pregnant and he could barely fit his arms around me. So I was like, we got some work to do. Like, I want to be like, wow, when he steps off that plane. And so I messaged her. It was the 4th of July. It was 11 o'clock at night because the fireworks were popping and it woke up my baby and I was ticked off. And so I messaged her and I said, I know it's only 8 or 9 o'clock in California. Are you awake? I'm on your website, but she was offline doing 4th of July stuff. So she didn't get back to me. And so in my brain, I was just like, screw it. And so I placed an order. The next morning I had 11 text messages from her apologizing profusely that something must have glitched. How Plexus got my credit card information was beyond her. And she was so sorry. And she was going to get my money back. And please don't hurt me. Like literally, like it was so funny. She was so scared of me. And so I replied, thank you, but I would like to keep my order. If you tell anyone, I will deny it until the day that I die and I will kill you. And she was like, okay, enjoy. What the funniest part of this though, is when I got my Plexus products in, my order was wrong. I had no idea because I just didn't know, but I got Slim, BioCleanse, and Accelerator Plus, which we don't even have that product anymore. Now we have MetaBurn, which is way better. And Chris Pike, if you don't know who that is, he's like the president of Plexus. Like he does it all. He's like the Wizard of Oz. And at the time he was working in shipping and customer service. He mailed me a bottle of ProBio 5 with like a handwritten note that was like, so sorry, we forgot to send this to you. Back then we used to get paper checks too, it's just so funny, like thinking back to all that. But I was very mean to her. I told her if it sucked, I was going to tell everyone on Facebook how awful Plexus was and ruin her whole business. I was so mean. I was such a mean girl, but it obviously worked out really great.
Everybody wants to know, who is your upline?
My upline is Emerald Ambassador Holly Torres. She lives in Southern California.
Okay. And everybody's saying they want to meet you at convention. So
yeah, I'll be there.
Y'all go hug Emily, take a selfie with her, post it, tell everybody you know her, somebody famous.
Oh yeah, that's my love language.
All right, girl. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I appreciate you a ton. I know that your time is extremely valuable. I appreciate you and love you. See you soon. Good night, y'all. Bye.